Hi, this is Straight Talk Consulting with CEO and owner Kevin Holmes. Kevin is a real estate investor and motivational speaker who helps people become investors and achieve their dreams. How are you today, Kevin?
I am great. How are you?
That's wonderful. I am doing well. Thank you so much. So, in today's installment, we're going to be talking about how we give our generational wealth away.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So, why don't we get started by kind of defining what wealth is, shall we?
Yeah, and let's get into it.
Okay, so just looking up wealth, it says a great quantity or
Hmm.
store of money, valuable possessions, property, or other riches. So, do you agree with that?
Yes, I do. Uh,
Okay, it's a good foundation. So, let's get into it. So, how do people give away their generational wealth?
well, I think one of the most biggest investment that you're gonna make is buying your own home, right?
Okay.
So now, once you buy that home, right, you're that's the start of accumulating generation wealth because a house goes up a percentage 3 to 5% a year, right? And real estate is up. Salaries is up 27%. Real estate is up 148%. So you see the difference. So real estate is a very huge asset,
Okay.
right? So what happens is, so you work so hard, you save your money, you buy your home, right?
Okay.
So then now, I like to kind of call what people get into the wow factor, and
Okay.
and you say, what is the wow factor? The wow factor is you get a new home and you're excited,
Of
right?
course.
It's your first home, and now you go and you buy new furniture. Got to have a new car in the driveway, right? New
Mm-hmm.
bedroom set. Everything is nice. You get the housewarming, and everybody go, "What?
Wow.
Wow!" Right? So everybody goes, "Wow." And it's
Okay.
great. You're feeling good about yourself. You're
Of
like, man, I
course.
got my house. I'm doing it, right?
Achieving
But
that American
the
dream, right?
American dream. I don't know if that dream is still alive, but yeah, achieving that American dream. So
It's
what
on life support, maybe.
exactly? So what happens is, so now you go on, you got this new house, it's new life, it's a new adventure, and your friends come by and they're like, "Wow!" and everybody's excited and loves the house and everything is new and everything is HD TV, and so now this is something new for you. So you not used to paying a mortgage. You may be in an HOA, and if you're dependent like myself, grew up in a project, you're used to paying water or heat,
You're
right?
definitely more conscientious about the
Right
water
now,
and utility usage.
exactly, turning the lights off. So that's a lot of adjustments that you have to make. So now at that, so man, that's still about 5 7 years. Nobody really refinance for about 5 or 7 years, if they do at all.
Okay. So,
But
what
you
do you
got
think some of the reasons why people do the refinancing?
Well, and most people do it to cash out or to rate and term, depending when, I always say the deal starts at the beginning. So it could have been a situation where your credit wasn't so great and maybe you got 6.5%. Now the rates are down and you're looking at, okay, saving some money to refinance, or you may have an FHA loan. Now you have 80% loan to value in the house. So it's like, okay, I want to get out of this PMI. So you refinance that so you don't pay PMI, or you want to cash out. So
Okay.
there's so many different things, but most people refinance to cash out.
Okay.
Uh,
Cash out.
and what I mean by cashing out, they refinance to be able to take some of the equity out of the house.
Okay. Got it.
So, so let's say now in the 7 years, the house went up 125,000, $150,000. It's like, wow, right? That's great. Great investment after 7 8 years or whatever. So now your wife and the husband is looking, and it's like bills are getting tight, things are tight,
Okay.
because
Maybe overextended.
you kind of overextended yourself. So at that point, what you wind up doing, Bank of America knocks on the door and say, "We got good news." What's the good news? The good news that we could refinance. You have a lot of equity in your house, and we can consolidate your
Mm.
credit card bills.
Okay.
So when you think about it, and you have most people just paying minimum payment, right?
Yeah.
So now you never wind up paying it off because you're paying minimum payment to keep your credit good, and you wind up being stuck in debt. So now when Bank of America says they can refinance and consolidate, And then now in the 7 years, you're having problems with the car. You put that on a credit card to get this fixed, and then you're like, well, you need to get a new car. You want to trade these cars and get new cars, and you're looking at the credit card bills. And with a house, it's always something,
Of course,
right?
always something.
So now at that point, right? So now they say, well, okay, we can give you, $80,000, $90,000. They can give you after you cash out. We take out the closing costs, and the interest rate you're paying 6%. Now what we're gonna do? We can give you at 4.5%. Great deal, right?
Yeah, I'd say so.
So most people they give you the breakdown. I used to be a mortgage broker. I was a loan officer as well. I was a real estate agent, so I know all about the
You know
whole
everything.
the aspects of both sides, and a contractor. So with my background and understanding how it all works, all the components. So now the person goes and the loan officer says, well, we can, and sometimes you have to pay off some of the credit card debt to qualify, right? Because your DTI could be off, right?
Okay.
So
And that's debt to income ratio.
right. So now at that point, all right, you're in debt, and you wind up getting all of those things paid.
Mm-hmm.
It's a monkey off your back, and you wind up maybe getting 20, 30,000 after you paid off your credit cards. So now you're feeling yourself. You're like, wow, I paid off all my credit cards, and we need new furniture, we need a new car, whatever, right? So you may purchase new stuff, and what happens, right? So now you start over another 30-year mortgage, right?
Okay.
So you start another 30-year mortgage because the loan officer says, listen, we're going to give you a better rate, right? If you do a 15, you get a better rate. But then you're like, well, if I do a 15, my payment's going to be higher.
Mm-hmm.
If I do a 30, my payment's going to be lower. But
Okay.
nobody looks at the time that you had for that 7 years, all the principal and interest that you have paid already. So,
That's a good point.
right? So now you start all over with another 30 to get that money. And that money, if you didn't get yourself in debt, right, that would have been the asset money the money to be able to buy another asset, right? So if you'd have took that money and refinanced, took that money and bought maybe two properties. Say you got 100,000, you'd be able to buy two properties, put 20% down on $100,000 property. It's $20,000, maybe $30,000 closing for $35,000. You could have bought two properties with the $80,000 to $100,000, right? So now if you did that, and plus you lower your interest rate, right? Plus you lower the term.
Well, you're saving you money on your interest.
You're saving money on the interest, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're not going back to a 30-year, because now you're paying more. You're paying 37 years because you already paid 7 years up front.
Yeah.
So now if you go to a 15, right? So now you only pay 22 years for the house. So you save interest there. You got a lower interest rate. You took that money and bought two investment properties. Now, the money that you were in debt, the money from the investment property pays back the debt.
I see. I think a lot of people, you're right, a lot of people make that mistake. So for myself, what I did is I refinanced also. Now, I didn't refinance to cash out. I refinanced because I had a high interest rate at the time. So maybe like 6.75%, and then I refinanced so that I can get it down to 4. And I made that mistake. I went back to a 30-year instead of doing a 20-year.
And so you didn't even take any cash out.
No cash out.
So look at now, you just accumulated 10 more years. So you're going to take you 40 years, you stay in your house. It's going to take you 40 years to pay it off, because you already paid 10.
Yeah.
And you didn't even cash out. You left the equity there, right?
I did.
And what did it cost you for closing costs?
It's maybe about $3,000.
$3,000. So you did all of that, and the rate, don't get me wrong, the rate's going to definitely make a difference. But the $3,000 wasn't that much. That was a good $3,000. But what you should have did is got into a 15. And if you do an amortization, you could have paid it off in 10, maybe an extra 100, $150 extra a month. So these are the things that people don't understand,
Or
um,
don't know.
don't
Because in
know.
my case, I didn't know.
Right. And this is why, I when I started the mentorship program with Straight Talk Consulting, because I just found that our parents was in survival mode. I'm self-taught, okay? I never went to college.
Okay.
I bought my first property when I was 22. I bought another one when I was 27. I never looked back after that. But I educated myself. I took out that hour, that time to educate myself, to read, to go to different classes. I became a real estate agent. I became a loan officer. I became a broker. So all of those things I educated myself because I knew, even though I worked for the city job, and that's why I always say make the job work for you. The city job gave me the W-2 to be able to buy assets while I still work for the city. So you have to understand, once you understand what you need to do with money and understand how money works. And that's why I say people give away their generation wealth because the simple fact that they don't understand. Most people are selfish,
Mm.
not disciplined, okay? And let's say that they selfish, not disciplined, and 9 times out of 10, sometimes they don't know,
Yeah.
right? They
I
don't.
think that's most of the time, but let's pick that up. So, what do you mean undisciplined?
Well, the thing is, if you discipline, you wouldn't worry about the wow factor of somebody coming on your house. And the wow factor, the wow factor is you bought a home. But if you're trying to sit there and press people and buying new stuff
That you
that
can't
that
afford.
you can't afford, it makes no sense, right? Because the same people that you're trying to impress don't got one or nothing to anything anyway, right? So you're trying to impress them for what? And we got to get out of that trying to impress people. People don't care about you trying to impress them; they trying to pay their bills,
Yeah.
right? So you get into that, and everybody likes to look the part. When you are the part, and you go to buy something, and they run your name and do your social security number, and they see the assets and stuff that you have, and they see your bank statement, you are the part, right? So they gonna go on what you have, right? So you put most people like that. They say fake it till you make it. I don't believe in that. I think that's um, I don't know where that even come from, but the thing is, I feel like put the work in and be it. To not, you don't need to fake it because you're only fooling yourself. So when you get away generation wealth, if you did not be in debt and be able to buy that asset, you would have put yourself in a whole different situation because now you have residual that be able to pay for your recklessness with the credit cards. So now somebody else is paying for that wow factor bill that you have.
Yeah, valid point. And then you had mentioned before too about being selfish. So let's follow up on that. What do you mean?
Well, I think being selfish because when you sit back and think, we talk about generation wealth, right? So the whole thing is one generation is supposed to do better than the next,
Yeah,
right? So if we be reckless with our finance, right, how can we help the next generation?
yeah, we can.
We can't, right? And the same thing where, you tell somebody, to get life insurance and they like worrying about if you're going to kill them. We're all going to die, right? So, so I'm going to take $1 million lunch and you're not going to eat off of me, my death. And this, it's a mentality, and, when you sit back and think about it, and it goes back to being educated.
Yeah, that's true. And understanding how money works.
Right. And the bottom line, you can't take this with you, but you can leave a legacy, right? So if you can teach your kids how money works and they could teach their kid how money works, right? Because if you put money in the bank, that's what I always say. Most of your money has to be invested. So let's take 100%. 80% of your money should be invested.
Okay.
20% should be in the bank. And
Mm-hmm.
even if it's in the bank, it still should be making whatever little peanuts they're gonna give you, but it should be making money for you. Like they say, most people make money when they sleep. Investors,
Mm-hmm.
right? When I'm sleeping and I'm making money because somebody's paying for my lifestyle. And real estate is not for everybody. Don't get me wrong, but if you don't want to be a landlord and be the day in grind and all that, invest into investment group or and this way you put your money, you get a percentage on your return. It's the same thing with people as a family. Family members should be getting together. Every family should get together and invest in each other. But nobody do that because they're like nobody trusts. Everybody wants to be the chief. Nobody wants to be the Indian.
Sometimes it's a little hard, and especially when, it's a group of people and no one really knows, no one has the experience, in investing.
Well, the thing is, I agree, but I think you have to get to a point where you already know certain family members you're just not going to deal with because they have a record and they not taking care of themselves. They can't keep a job. But if just take you got four cousins and everybody is professional, everybody got their job. Why can't 4 or 5 cousins come together and put $20,000 together, right, and
Mm-hmm.
buy a property every year? Or just say four, you put $25,000, and we got $100,000, right? So if you sit back and think, when I'm saying how money works, but if you sit back and think, what do? We put money with our jobs in our 401k, and what are we doing with the 401k? Somebody else is investing that money and giving you a return,
Exactly.
right?
Well, those are supposed to be the professionals, right? They know more than the average Joe or Jane, so that's why we entrust them.
Well, yeah, that's why people that are in their 70s in 2007, 2008, when the market crashed, they had to go back to work, right? Because
Good
those
point there.
professionals, right,
Mm-hmm.
that was telling you how much you're going to make on your money, right, they
Yeah.
lost, right? Everybody lost. But now, if you're in real estate, right, my rent didn't change, my interest rate didn't change,
Mm.
right? Now, it could be a situation where a tenant don't pay, whatever, still own the property, right?
That's true. You still have an appreciating asset.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So these are the things which you have to think about when you're thinking about your future.
You know, uh, you've made so many valid points here, and I definitely got a lot from it, and I'm sure your viewers did too. So we're gonna wrap up for now. So do you have any closing thoughts that you want to leave?
Well, I want people to go to my YouTube channel. It's / at Straight Talk Today. And I do put it on Facebook as well. We have different topics. I'm going to be continue doing more video, different topics about real estate, about life, and about different things. So follow me on YouTube.
That's wonderful. And I'll just reiterate, that's right. We're going to have another installment where you can definitely learn more real estate tips, but you have to subscribe. So we'll see you the next
On the
time.
next video.